Are we ready?
We're ready.
All right. Dad jeans. Dad jeans.
I'm gonna be Mon Sheila for Halloween, I think.
Really? Is he was the leader?
No, no. Mon Sheila was his right hand woman who
Right,
then went to
okay.
Switzerland, and like she was kind of like the evil mastermind of the whole thing.
Right. She was the L. Ron Hubbard of the
Yeah,
organization.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Were
then
they bad?
I think they were pretty bad. I mean, they were like poisoning the town and stuff like that to win in the county politics and giving everybody food poisoning and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, that's
Like
pretty
they would go
bad.
to salad bars with the contraptions in their sleeves to spread salmonella all over the
Oh,
the
Jesus.
pepperoncinis and stuff like that.
I don't think I got that far.
Oh, it's insane! It's totally crazy. But I've been
At
watching
the old country buffet.
that, and also The Vow on HBO, which is about another cultish thing.
Oh, that's Nixium?
Nexium, yeah, exactly.
Nexium, yeah.
That-
I'm dying to watch that. I love cults. I'm so fascinated by cults.
The human brain's ability, I mean, we're witnessing it with Trump's people, but the human brain's ability to be like, oh, a cult, great, what do I sign? Do you want all
Yeah.
my money? Sure, here, take my kid.
Right. Yeah.
What is a cult?
A cult is where a bunch of bears decide that some penguin is their leader. Even though they want to eat the penguin, they don't eat the penguin, and instead they worship the penguin and do whatever the penguin says. And then the penguin says, eat each other! And then all the bears eat each other, and they're like, bear is delicious! Why didn't we think of this before?
That's right. Even though bear is not delicious.
It's against
Don't
the
eat bear.
bear's best interests, yet the bear
That's right.
follows the penguin.
Let's introduce ourselves.
Shut up!
And yeah, you're listening to Dad Jeans, obviously. I'm Jeffrey Dinsmore,
And I'm Brendan Hughes, and this is Dad Jeans.
and that's Oscar Hughes and Blue Bear.
And those were my sons, Oscar and Blue Bear.
That's right. We're cutting all this, right?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. Good. This is garbage.
This is total
I've been
garbage.
making. You might see my sewing machine. I've been making masks like a.
Wow.
Have I shown you my masks I've been making?
Yes, I've seen a couple pictures. You've gotten better and better
stitching.
at the stitching and the seams.
I have
too.
gotten so good at the stitching and the seams.
Wait a
Look at
second. That looks
baby.
like
Look how beautiful that
That looks
is.
like a curve. So you can sew in a curve now. Is that what you're telling me?
I can sew in a curve. I have to sort of flip upside down while I'm doing it. It's a little. It's awkward.
Have you sewn your fingers together at any point?
I have not.
And
I've been lucky. I have not poked myself once. Yes.
And when Eli and Hazel talk about this time, they'll remember fondly the pandemic in which their father was often at the loom, and their mother was whatever Sarah spends her time doing.
Just drugs.
Wow.
Mom was nodding off on the couch.
That lean, that long.
Yeah.
So wait, so you're homesteading basically. You're making your own clothes.
Yep. Clothes, bread. I've got some English muffins, actually, some sourdough English muffins that I'm going to cook up after this call.
Oh, that's fantastic. Wait, by your
We've
own
got-
recipe?
I mean, by my own hands. I did not create the recipe.
English muffins. Are they fork split?
They will be, yes.
Really?
You just put a fork around the edges, and there you go. Bob's your uncle. You got yourself a fork split muffin.
Does it have nooks and crannies?
They're not as nooky and cranny-y as they could be. I think that takes time and practice.
And maybe
But,
industrial machinery.
Yeah, and I think sourdough muffins tend to be less nooky and cranny-y
I see.
because they don't rise quite as much as the other type.
The yeast is not farting as much.
The yeast-driven English muffin, yes.
I've told you about my forthcoming documentary called "Fuck Is Yeast."
No, I love it.
Pretty good, right?
Fuck is it?
Fuck is yeast.
I don't know. It's a creature, though.
Yeah.
This whole sourdough thing has been fascinating to see like that the sourdough is a living organism. Like if you give it some flour and it like bubbles up and it's
The starter.
Daddy hungry. Yeah.
And there are some bakeries in New York where they have sourdoughs that are over 100 years old.
Wow.
They've
That's got to be a
they've
delicious.
continually
old
kept
sourdough.
going through world wars, keeping the sourdough beast alive.
That's all we have. It's all we have left to believe in.
Yeah.
is the sourdough starter. Brendan, it's your birthday.
Oh, that's right. It is my birthday. It's my birthday, Jeff.
Happy birthday, friend.
Thank you.
What,
Thank you very much.
What is you're looking hale and hearty for 62? No one would guess.
No one would guess. I know. and living in such a sunny state, but I like to wear giant bonnets.
Oh yeah, well you look good in them.
Thank you.
And carry a giant lollipop around that you
Yep.
you lick.
Yep, and be freshly powdered.
Yeah. That is fancy. That is one fancy birthday, brother.
Well, once a year I get to poop myself.
Yeah, that's good. That's a nice extra thing. What are you doing for what does one do for a COVID birthday?
Yeah, that's a great question. That is the great. This is the third COVID birthday in this household that we've had. Oscar led the charge on March 18th, and that was days after we began. So we didn't know what the story was. We figured we were going to have COVID any second. So this was probably going to be the last time any of us saw each other, not
Right.
intubated.
Yeah,
And then Emily's was a week after that. So now everything is like, is there time? What is a year? You know what I mean?
right. What is this thing?
I know.
What's
And
happening
when the demise. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing about my birthday, and also this week and life in general. I hadn't really put it together that the entire fate of the nation rested on an 87-year-old who had pancreatic cancer for several years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
Right.
the fact that and that her death, well earned as it certainly was the thing,
A
like
well-earned
Kobe,
death.
that was holding us all together. Makes me realize just how delicate everything already was. So
Yeah,
there
we
you have
should.
it.
So that's our timestamp. We don't want to get too into this because I realized, Brendan, we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. We should be the light. We should be the light for our enfeebled listeners right now, our intubated listeners right now.
You're
We should
absolutely
give
right.
them the joy that they can get nowhere else in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So let's not even fucking go down this hellish path that we could easily go down if we wanted to.
I think that's a great idea.
But we should acknowledge, yes, Ruth Bader Ginsburg has passed away this week.
Mm-hmm.
Shocking. What happened to you when you heard the news? Were you fetal?
We were on
you were fetal before you heard the news.
Yeah,
and then you were just like, I'm so glad I was in this position because
Yeah,
this is
I've
exactly
been
where I should be.
I've been pre-gaming the whole fetal thing since like April of 2019.
Perfect.
But
Good.
we were on a Zoom call for my parents-in-law's. We were on a FaceTime.
Something just happened.
Yeah, sorry. A battery rolled across the floor. But then there was that earthquake.
Okay.
Here's the amazing thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to keep digressing.
Yeah.
But it's like you can't. The fires are so bad you can't breathe. Oh, you can breathe now. RBG is dead. Oh,
Yeah.
Have you gotten over the shock of that? Earthquake.
Yeah. So this is Sarah's away for a training this weekend. She's doing like a psychology training thing, and I'm with the kids. But I took them over to Julia's house, my sister-in-law's. So I was going to have a night alone. First time in 2 weeks that the skies were clear. This was Friday night. Get in my car, go drop the kids off. After that, I was going to stop by the weed store and get myself some tasty weed to just have dad night. Just going to, and I've got like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. They just remastered for the PS4.
Oh my
So
God.
I'm just going to sit there fucking doing ollies, doing some breakneck 360s. That was my plan. Well, after smoking a little weed, I get to Julia's house and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "You haven't heard?" And I'm like, "No." She said, "RBG died." I'm like, "She literally died between the time we got in the car and now?" Like, that's what happened. Like, we were just like, and so then I go to the weed store anyway, just because I'm just like, just give me this depressing weed. And I go and I smoke like one bowl and I'm just like, I can't be stoned right now. And I play some sad Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, watch It, the first episode or the first part of It, which was trash. It was garbage. Then I go to bed. Yeah.
The movie where these guys in the sewer.
Yeah, the guy in the sewer.
The
that
balloon?
movie. Trash. Yeah. Garbage. Did you see that thing?
I made it through half and I was like, this is garbage.
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 I hated the fucking kids. I was like, these kids should get their asses kicked.
Yep.
And murdered by a clown because they're horrible.
And central casting and just stupid.
Central casting. It was like they wanted it to be this it was a big budget Hollywood movie that was trying to it's got all this edge because it's a Stephen King story about like kids who are horribly abused, but then they like prettied it up for like big budget, but they still wanted to be edgy. And I was just like, find your tone, people.
The perfect union is Stephen King material and Rob Reiner's direction.
Oh yeah. Oh, well, totally. That was, they were so like emulating the Stand By Me, the camaraderie, and they got nowhere near it. They could not touch it. Anyway, then I go to sleep. Like 2 seconds after I go to sleep, I'm awakened by a goddamn earthquake. And then I lay awake all night waiting for another earthquake.
Yeah, waiting for end times. That earthquake is the scariest earthquake I've ever experienced since we moved here. I moved here 14 years ago.
Did you wake right up?
Right up. Yeah, it was 3 seconds of extremely loud, low buzzing, which I think was all of our furniture rumbling on itself on the floor, and
wow.
Just like it felt like it sounded like our house was hit by a truck, and I didn't know what happened. So just like wide awake, and then we both ran towards Oscar's room, threw open the door, and he was still asleep. And so we stood in his doorway, and like my heart pounded for a really long time. And then figured out what the plan was and we have this very large butcher block kitchen table, and I am going to drill compartments on the underside of it so that we all get under it, and that's where we have our scrubs and our roll of toilet paper and canned food and water and first aid and stuff like that. Yeah, so we can live under there for a couple days.
Is that right, or are you supposed to be in the cone of safety?
What's the cone of safety? Oh, next to the bed or whatever. That is our cone of safety. Yeah, next
to the bed.
Yeah, that's in the middle of the house, and that will break any rafters fall and all that stuff. And all the load bearing goes above it in the same direction. I don't know. It should be. I think it should be fine.
Brendan, I challenged thee. I got your book, by the way. Thank you so much. I started the first chapter. I'm already enthralled, but I didn't have a chance to go further. But I will read it by our next meeting.
Oh, great! Excellent.
But thank you for that. And how about I challenged thee? Did you get a chance to listen to Oranges and Lemons?
I started it, and I listened to the first half of the first song.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I am sorry. So we're in the same boat. You started the first chapter. I listened to the first half of I was like, I'm going to get a song in. But I should really do the whole album, right? Like I should sit down and just...
Oh, yeah. Get a cup of coffee, sit down, get your slippers, get your pince-nez.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm lost without my pince-nez. Actually, that's funny you should say that because I need readers. I've gotten to that age now that I am the age that I am turning today. I actually do need readers, and maybe I'll get some pince-nez.
That would be amazing.
That would be pretty great. So anyway, I started the first song, and and boy, does that album shoot out of a cannon.
Yeah. You started, so you heard, kid, stay and snip your cord off. Talk to let your mind loose. Can't help think like Chekhov, but you'll be okay.
Yes.
You heard that?
I did hear that. I really liked it.
Welcome to the garden of earthly delights. Yes. Sorry.
Actually, it's hard to listen to XTC without picturing you covering it.
Well, that's whatever it takes. That might make it more pleasurable to you.
What's the name of that guy with the really red lips and tiny mouth that sings?
The main dude?
Yeah.
Colin. Why am I blanking?
Farrell? Firth? Flavington?
There's two. Oh, Colin Moulding.
Moulding. What about Dinsmore on Moulding evening at a local establishment?
No, wait. Who's the other? God, why am I blanking? Wait, say that again. Dinsmore on Moulding.
Well, what about an
that.
evening? You know what I mean? Like some people do an evening of what's his name who sang "Don't Forget Me," and other people do an evening. Harry Nilsson. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing an evening of Harry Nilsson songs or an evening of John Prine songs. I've always wanted Greg Felden to do an evening of John Prine. So why don't you do an evening of Colin Moulding?
Well, and Andy Partridge. I'm sorry, that's probably who you're thinking of.
Andy Partridge.
I think as we just discovered, it's a little out of my range, so I don't think we're gonna do that.
I'm about to say something controversial. It might be out of his range.
Hey,
There, I
that's
said
fine.
it, but not in a bad
That's
way.
fine. You know what? Notes don't matter. It's the feeling behind them.
Amen.
Okay, well, you got a little bit into it. That's okay. It's your birthday. I'll let you slide.
Thank you. Yep.
Next week.
Next week, and we should
Okay.
probably. I'll tell if Brian's going to be on. I'll also ask him to listen to it.
Awesome. Okay, we have 3 more announcements, and then we can move into Advise Me, Bro. Number 1, reminder to our listeners: please send in if something tickles your funny bone, send it to us. Send it to, you probably know me and Brendan's private emails, or you can send it to dadjeanspodcast@gmail.com. Is that us?
Yep.
Okay. Or text us or tweet us or you can join the new Discord server that we just set up,
yeah.
which I don't really know how you do that, but
Right.
we'll figure it out.
Do they
Yeah.
use links on Discord? This seems like a completely different thing than the usual internet.
It's like, it's Slack essentially, and anyone can join it. And then they can just talk to us, and we're here, and they can join it right now if they wanted to. If someone were hearing this in real time, they could join us right now and say, "Hey, you guys suck," and then just and be out, and that would make our day. Actually,
That would make our day. Means you're a bitch.
yeah, means you're a bitch. Amazing. What was that on?
That was the only. I briefly had a video of how to fold a fitted sheet on
That's right.
on YouTube, and the only comment was "means you're a bitch."
Means you're a bitch. Yeah, that's amazing. I like to think that was probably one of our friends or listeners.
I hope so.
And then the other thing is, I won't be mad about this because I guess we want all of the all the dad podcasters out there that we can get. But there's another podcast called Dad Jeans I just discovered.
No. Are you kidding?
Yes.
That's
No.
amazing.
But it's called Dad Jeans, Genes.
Interesting.
And they're on their like 12th episode or something like that. So they're a relatively new phenomenon. I want them to be our rivals, but I will take the high road
well,
and
we
say
should definitely have an annual softball team, though, don't you think?
I think something like that is not a bad idea. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, dad. If we are Dad Jeans with a J, they are Dad Jeans with a G. I don't know how I feel about this, but it's a thing that's out there in the world. We're spicy today. Punchy. We're punchy.
Punchy, I know, and I'm not sure what it is. I think it is the earthquake combined with all the other shit going on. Birthday, getting older. The age I'm turning is very random sounding.
Yes, I believe you're. Should we say it out loud? Or are
sure.
Are you 47?
46.
46. Oh, you're only a year older than me?
I'm not even sure that's an actual age. I think it's just sort of I'm somewhere in the 40s at this point.
Yeah, I know. It's the middle ones are always kind of nice because you're not at the other one yet.
Right. Exactly.
I remember that, like when I got to 40, I was just like, "Fuck, what's wrong with me?
What have I accomplished?"
And then at 42, I'm like, "Meh, all right, why not?"
Yeah, this is just a pile another layer on the layer cake.
Yeah, I remember thinking I was washed up at like 28. I was like, "Oh, I'm too old. I can't restart anything over again now."
Yes, I know exactly what you mean. Greg Felden turned 31 when I was 29, and I was like, 31? Jesus.
Yeah, it's over. This guy.
Yeah.
No more for you. Time to go to sleep.
What are you doing in this bar?
Yeah, exactly. Shouldn't you be calculating interest rates or something?
An amortization.
Yeah, shouldn't you be amortizing something? Your liens and means. Should we move into our first segment? Advise me, bro.
Yes, and I played a deadly game of cat and mouse where sex is the ultimate weapon on this one for you, wherein
Ooh.
I named it one thing on our brief, and then this morning at 5 a.m. I changed it entirely, and I'm sorry about that.
That's fine. I had nothing to say about the other topic either. So
Great.
I'm just here to listen and advise me, bro. I am the advisor. You're
Yep.
the advisee.
That's correct.
So we're just gonna take some time to listen to what Brandon's got going on. Brandon.
Advise me, bro. Cause I just gotta know. I got a motherfucking problem and you gotta show. Advise me, bro.
Either I respond
pack.
to either one.
Yeah.
I have much to ask you, Jeff, because
Yeah.
there's I don't know how you are at drawing boundaries, but
Oh, I thought you were gonna say drawing, which I wish I was better. I
Oh.
would love to be able to draw.
me too.
No, drawing boundaries. Depends on the person and the situation. But go ahead.
I see. I mean, I have learned over time, and this makes perfect sense, that the better you are at drawing boundaries, the more solid your relationships are, paradoxically. Because there's nothing, there's no wisdom that isn't issued from a paradox. So if there's no paradox, then whatever you're dealing with isn't true. So, in my opinion. So,
Okay. Confused,
This-
but sure.
this is the perfect situation where if you're like, no, fuck off, I'm having me time, that is tantamount to saying I love you.
Yeah.
But dropping everything and being, what? Well, maybe I can help is tantamount
Yeah.
to being like, you're going to exhaust me and I'm going to leave you someday. You know what I mean? That
Yes,
is
yes.
that is the tricky paradox of this all. But I, for various reasons, have a really hard time drawing boundaries.
Okay.
Extremely hard time. We can get into it. It's boring and sad. So, the thing is that
Tell me.
when I am being a dad, and often I have to be a dad on my own. Emily's on set today.
Yeah.
Oscar loves to interface. He's an extremely social kid, and I hear the phrase "Dad, look," 600 or 700 times a day.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't necessarily get a flow in my life ever. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
There is no flow. No.
There is no flow. And
Yeah.
as a man without flow, I can't, nothing. There's nothing.
You can't hustle without flow, baby.
I can't hustle without flow.
No.
But here's the thing, not that I'm complaining, because I love it. And that stuff is going to dry up any day
Take a bullet
now.
for him.
Take a
Take
bullet.
a bullet for him.
Take a bullet for him. That shit's gonna,
Yeah.
and that shit's gonna dry. He's 7. That by 10, he won't want
Yeah.
anything to do with me, you know. And
Potential.
and now he's like, this is my guy, and he is 100% my demographic, and I need to know exactly what the deal is. And then when it comes to Emily, I'm like the house IT guy, so for some reason I know how to make technological things work, and they
Sure.
therefore don't have to learn, and so I just am the person who does it, and it often feels like an emergency, and I just find myself dropping everything all the time. And
Yeah.
Emily is incredible at drawing boundaries and not giving a flying fuck. But to me, I'm like, if
No,
I
she's like, I'm not doing that.
yeah, and,
No, sorry, that shit is, I'm not doing that shit.
yeah, it's like, it's incredible, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what I would in your shoes right now, I would never dream of saying what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
she'll leave you in the lurch, and then but it turns out she isn't. It just feels that way, because then in retrospect, I look back and I was like, yeah, I didn't actually need that help right then that bad. She had every right to be that way. But in the moment, I'm like, you know, I wouldn't, what? You know, so that.
How dare you? How are you not as codependent as I am?
Exactly.
How dare you?
Exactly. And so last night, and it all leads to bottling up. And it leads to, I was doing the dishes last night, and I was like, I'm going to listen to this Beastie Boys thing on Broken Record, that podcast with what's his name, the bald guy who has a long beard and barefoot and produces all the hip hop albums. Lives in
Rick Rubin?
Yeah, Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin's talking about the Beasties?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's got to be a
because
that's got to be a deep story.
they got
yeah.
their start together because the Beastie Boys used to hang out in his dorm room at NYU when they were in high school.
Yes, and then they hated each other for many years.
Oh, they didn't cover that part. That's interesting. Yeah, so for a recent Broken Record, the Beastie Boys, that guy who's secretly a Coppola and directs all the movies, Spike Jonze,
yeah.
and Rick Rubin all hung out on a Zoom talking together.
Okay,
and
wow, that sounds
reminiscing.
amazing.
And I was like, oh, I'm going to do this because Emily's been at
I'm
work
so
all
there.
day. Oscar and I have been hanging out. Now, Oscar, I was like, Oscar, I'm going to clean the house while I listen to this podcast. You do your thing. We're not going to be chit-chatting. And,
Love it.
that lasts 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And so I keep having to be like, wait, what? And then wait, hold on. I can't hear you. I have to pause, take out the headphones. What is it?
Very performatively taking off the headphones. Is that what you're doing?
Right. Over time, can I help you?
What?
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And so it gets, and I was letting it build up, and I was drawing gentle boundaries, and I was like, Oscar, I'm not going to be chit-chatting, et cetera, et cetera. And then eventually, I kind of blew up a little. I was like, don't stop saying "Dad, look" every 10 seconds. Like I
Ooh,
was just
yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
and I feel really bad having said that.
Oh, you laid a heavy trip on that kid.
I laid a heavy trip on him because I let it build up, and this is the problem. If you don't draw boundaries, that steam pressure just builds and builds and builds. You know what I mean? And then you fucking say something inartful.
Inartful, yeah. So then did you have to repair? What was his reaction?
No, he was fine. I was like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say that like that, but can we? And he was like, yeah, no, that's fine. And he actually really seems to completely bounce back at those things. Like we're a house where there's free snappage. Like we all have a license to snap. And then we are like, yeah, we're all right, everybody, and we're all laughing in a couple minutes. And I've always dreamed of a household like that because there was no snapping in my house growing up. You know what I mean? And I was freaked out by snapping for years, and it was a prison because people are going to snap. They're humans. They're animals. So
is this advise me, bro, or dadception? Because what you're laying on me right now is a dadception reality
Jesus,
as well.
I know, but I have a dadception in the mix
in
too.
cycles.
I know it's all getting very psychological, and you brought this up before that I'm like on this head trip these days because parenting is all about that. You know what I mean? You're like, well, this is how I was raised, and some of that was different. I want to do things different. In any case, how do I? Please tell me. I guess the advice is I don't even have coherent advice to ask other than please tell me that when I say no. Go, like, I'm not going to rescue you from this situation or whatever, or no, just stop talking. Don't say anything to me right now. Like all those things are healthy, and the love remains even when I withdraw my attention.
I don't know that it works with kids. Does it work? Can Emily do that with Oscar?
Yeah, she does all the time.
She just says, I can't talk to you right now. And then he just doesn't talk to her.
Yeah. And if he tries, she is like very clear. And she's like, I told you I'm practicing Chinese right now. And it screws me up if you speak in English while I'm trying to do this. Or whatever, you know? So she's like, get the hell out of here. So she has the ability to draw extremely clear boundaries. But
how does he I can't fathom that. I mean, it's the same way like with Eli he is a talker. That kid does not stop talking from the minute he wakes up till the minute he goes to bed.
So, same. Oscar, same.
I can't, there's nothing I can do. I mean, I'm a bad person to be this particular form of advice. Like I think with your partner, it's different. With your friends, it's different, but with your kids, I don't, fuck if I know. I don't know. I don't know how to. I try to draw the boundaries a million times a day, and they just don't. They don't register. You can't draw a boundary with someone who sees no limits.
Right.
Like,
right. Exactly.
You know?
And if you draw it too hard, do they interpret you as withdrawing love? You know, like that is that's the nightmare scenario for me. Is that because I'm no good at it in the first place? If I try and do it with this fragile little ego, am I just like dinging him up? You know.
But does Emily have a different relationship with him? Like, do you feel as if?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They have
like
an
she's
extremely different relationship than
she's the stern German like governess.
Kind of.
And you're
you would think, right? Except also she does it with so much aplomb that she also isn't. That she's also fun-loving and funny as hell, and they get laughing, and she can make him laugh, and she diffuses situations really easy. And so they also aren't entangled emotionally. Like it's all very clean, you know, like they dearly love each other. They drive each other crazy, but there's this umbrella of wholesomeness surrounding the entire thing that allows them the total freedom to be whoever they are in a given moment.
Does he crave the approval of one of you more than the other?
Me, I guess.
Okay. Like you think he's searching for your approval?
I guess, but I give it to him freely all the time. And I tell him I love him all day long. And I give him kisses on the head when I walk by and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know if that stuff registers.
And
I feel like that's like that sort of like built-in love is different from attention love.
right. Right, exactly. And Emily, here's the other thing. Because Emily isn't stretched so thin, she ends up being able to give him her entire self. And then
Uh-huh.
she's the 100 0, and I am all about 100 0. It's always better than 50-50 because I am always stretched so thin. I can only give him 12% of my attention at any given time, even when I'm trying to give him more than that. Like if I'm like,
Right.
we're going to play Legos, I last 10 minutes before I
Yeah, and your mind is elsewhere.
yeah, exactly.
Well, that's see my boundary that I wish I could I wish I could steer the ship more.
Uh-huh.
Like that's like the like boundaries is not quite as big like what you're describing is a problem that I absolutely encounter all day every day, but I've never attributed it to boundaries. I've attributed it to being unable to set the agenda. To be like, I mean, how many times will I be like, kids, we're making bread, like we're all going to work together and make a loaf of bread. And then somehow like they'll get bored like 2 minutes in and it will not go the way I want it. And then I end up having to make bread. And then they're like, hey, come do this other thing with me. And I'm like, I'm making bread. I got to finish my bread. I can't do the other thing with you. Like, so then it just turns into this disaster. Like I'm trying to be the guy who's the dad who's like, okay, here's what we're going to do, kids. Like, I've got a fun day planned and we're going to do X and we're going to do Y and we're going to do Z and you're going to come along with me and we're all going to love it and we're going to learn something together. And then it just like, it just dissolves instantly.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I want to be the ringleader dad who's like, "Come on, let's do it. We're gonna do this fun thing." And I just get he's like, "No, not interested. Nope."
Yes.
Yeah, and
Right.
you're like, "I want to do this wholesome thing. We're gonna learn. It's gonna be great." And
Yeah.
none of that. No. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
you see, and then all you see of like dad billboards and dad everything. The dad media industrial complex is nothing but fucking creatively conceived water balloon fights and laughter.
Yes.
And
Yeah, because it's again, like we said a couple weeks ago, it's speaking to our egos. It's like you can do this. You can have this little mini me that you're ordering around and who will enjoy the fun that you're telling them to enjoy. But that's a fucking crock of shit if you ask me.
it is a great right because we ultimately believe in them being these fiery independent souls that are gonna
Sure.
make their way through an extremely uncertain world. And so
Yeah.
they need to be fortified and ready to be very self-directed. I mean, there won't be any jobs. Everyone's just going to be a gig freelancer, even though underwriters will still only give house loans to people who have 9 to 5 jobs, even though they won't have existed for 10 years. In any case,
Yes.
our kids have to be so self-reliant and so resourceful. So the good news, as far as making that bread goes, is like they have to be like, that sounds great and all, but I'm going to take charge of my own day, as they will
Yeah.
need to for their entire lives.
Yeah.
They will not. There are no
here's-
conveyor belts.
Here's my okay, so here's my take on it. I don't have advice, but maybe a way to reframe so you feel a little bit better about it, possibly. These petty squabbles that you engage in on a daily basis, they are a sign that your child is not terrified of the greater universe, which is the much more horrible, upsetting thing to have to deal with right now. So I say take the petty squabbles.
Oh yeah.
Because like they're not sitting there cowering in their bed like, somehow you've shielded them from the really terrifying thing that's happening right now, and they're able to he's able to conduct a normal life, being stuck inside for 6 months and like having petty squabbles and just like going about his day as if it's this is just what life is now. And so to me, there's something good in that. You're creating a solid foundation, and that's what you need to do.
Thank you. That's great. Okay.
Does that feel good?
That feels great.
Because they always say like if your kids, if you have multiple children as I do, and they fight at home, it's a good sign because it shows that they have that like kids who are in a traumatic situation will bond together and help each other because they have no one else to rely on, you know?
Yeah.
So like if your kids are squabbling, it means that they're not worried that anything they can do would like would tear you away from them, you know?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, that makes me feel better also about the way Oscar sometimes treats his own teddy bear.
Yeah, well that's it. He's got to kick someone's ass, right?
Right, and he feels very secure that he can be the source of conflict in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Emily and I are not without our conflict, but I hand it to us in that we can like speak in full sentences and be consterned, but we don't throw mugs at each other.
Yeah, that's good. That's healthy as well.
Okay.
As long as you're not repressing a bunch of shit. You do need to get
Right.
do need to get your screams out there, my friend.
Yeah, that's true. Do some primal screaming on the top of a snowy mountain.
Yes. Right after Oscar goes to bed, just like scream outside of his door for half an hour.
Exactly.
That's there you go. That's Advise Me, Bro. Should we move on to get out of my of my lawn?
Right, get out from within my lawn.
Okay.
Hey kids, get off of my lawn. Your fucking lawnmower is turning my lawn purple, and I don't want a punk rock lawn. Yeah.
We haven't done this one in a while.
We haven't, it's true. It's been a long time, yet we've gotten older every day since the last time we did this.
Yeah,
And
that is true.
only more things would probably have driven us crazy about the youth.
So true. I think I'm so away from it now. When I was working at Digital Kitchen, they got bought by this other advertising agency, and I was working around a bunch of 20-somethings in the advertising world.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure if I were still in that situation, I would have plenty of get off my lawns. But I've got one. But why don't you go first, since you were the inspiration for this segment?
Oh, I was right. Can you just okay? And this is just things we just can't stand about young people, right? Is that what it is, basically?
I think so. Yeah, get off my. Yeah, just stop
Okay.
it. But
Right.
we should also gauge what we're talking, like 20-year-olds, right? We're like
Yeah. Yeah,
not
basically.
kids, because I think we have another segment for that. We have like 7 segments that are basically this.
That are basically this,
different
but yeah.
names.
But I think this one could be. I mean, my interpretation is this is something that's driving us nuts about the young people that we're sharing the adult sphere with, but
Yeah.
that we used to certainly be guilty of. Any old man who's like, "Get off my lawn," probably spent some
Yes.
time on his neighbor's lawns when he was growing up, and has totally
That's
lost
true.
touch with that version of him.
Yeah.
And so therefore this week, the thing that drives me fucking insane about the youth that we share this planet with is disposable income.
Oh yeah.
I can't I'm gonna go paragliding because nothing else to do with money. Fuck
Yeah.
you. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't know what it is. It's something about it that I guess I never had quite the kind of like 9-to-5 job that gave one all this money to spend when you're a kid and just be done with. So I didn't
Yeah.
have, because I was trying to be, I don't know, some sort of artist or something. So I didn't have quite that experience of like restaurants and stuff. And there's such a divide where when I see that, although I did plenty of this, actually, I'm totally guilty of this. And I had plenty of like, hey, so where are we drinking tonight? I remember like being a young person, and that was the only, that question would hit me at like 2:00, and I'd call like Dowling and be like, where are we drinking tonight? Like, fucking
Right.
idiot, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
You
why-
asshole.
And I remember seeing people. So we lived, Liz, when we lived in Los Feliz, my ex-girlfriend Liz used to work at this coffee shop called Psychobabble. And so I'd come back from some fucking dive bar in the valley or whatever, where I was just being dumb for a 50th night in a row for no reason. Just get there and be like, glug, 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 say dumb shit, get back in car, drive home.
Yeah.
And Liz would like be getting off work at Psychobabble, so I'd go in there and I'd look around, and it'd be full of people in this coffee shop, and I remember actively thinking, so you could, I guess, of an evening, you could just sit in a coffee shop and like have a conversation with a friend or play a board game, but I could not.
Is that like 9 p.m.?
Yeah, or 10 or whatever, you
Okay.
know. And
Yeah.
I'd be like, I cannot conceive of doing that, but look at all these people, they're doing it. Like, I could not get my mind around just having a nice evening with a friend, sitting down, not having a funny story as we talked about earlier to say, and just being like, how are you? How are you really?
Yeah.
Or whatever, you
Right.
know? My new
Yeah.
friend, let's sit here. Let's sit of an evening, not even drink alcohol, which I don't drink anymore, basically. And
Yeah.
being like, I mean, I'm just a completely different person than I was back then. So when I see the youngsters being dumb with their money, it makes me fucking furious because you could take all that shit, put in a fucking IRA, and not be worried
Right.
when you're 46.
Yeah, but it was an unlimited resource then, you know? Like I worked a job and made a decent income and had my rent was like $50 a month or whatever, you know, because I lived in a tiny shack with another dude, and I was just like, what, like why wouldn't I just go and spend like $50 at the bar?
Shit, yeah.
There'll be more next week. I'll just get more next week and then I'll go do that again. Like, yeah, I was so dumb about it. I am so envious of the people who realized early on that they needed to prepare for a future.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
But then on the flip side, Sarah had this IRA that she had like 100 grand in or something like that, and it ended up like going under during the last
2008?
crash, and
yeah.
and she got like 15 grand or something like that out of it. Like it's just like,
Fuck.
you know, that's the money that's the money you blew at the bar
Yeah.
right there.
Right.
You know, like
Right. That's true.
she worked hard and she was responsible, and she still lost $85,000 somehow.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's eye opening. Yeah, that's true. I got Quicken once. I might have talked about this on the show before, but I got Quicken and I was like, well, I just enter all my bank statements, and you know, it went insane. And then I was like, how much cash? Because all the cash I took out of ATMs, have I told you this before? Was all the cash I took out of ATMs was to buy fucking $10 sandwiches when I was in my 20s and a graphic designer in Boston. And so I would
With a $2 bank fee.
with a
Or
$2 bank,
ATM
exactly.
fee.
I would take $30 out, get a sandwich, $2 bank for like all that kind of stuff. Not and then get a thing and then a coffee or whatever, and then it was just kind of gone. And then I'd do it again in 2 days or 3 days, you know. And so and I was broke during a period. I barely had money for rent, but I also couldn't cook for myself because I couldn't take any responsibility. So I had to eat out, and that was like 7 times the amount of money I needed to be spending. So that's where it all went. And so did the Quicken thing, and I was like, did some calculations and ran a report, and I was like, how much money have I just taken out of ATMs in the last 6 years? Because I know all that stuff just like got pissed away and went down my throat. Do you know how much it was? And I didn't make anything. I made 30 grand a year for 6 years or something, 30, 35 grand, something very low in the grand scheme of American things.
I give up.
$200,000.
What?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's just cash.
Just cash running through my dumb fingers in my 20s.
Oh, that's hard. That hurts.
Yeah. Over the course of 6 years. So if I had packed a sandwich for 6 years, that's a down payment on a house I would have bought in the 90s, which would now have quadrupled in value, and I would have a $2 million house. You know what I mean? So that makes me upset.
Yeah, it's tough. That is tough. So stop with this disposable income, you idiots.
You fucking idiots. Get off my lawn.
Don't just stop it. Get off my lawn with your waving your cash around, making it rain. Come on.
Yeah, and doing dumb shit and like joining cults like Nexium.
Yeah, Billie Eilish. Get off my lawn.
Yourself.
Myself. I don't get Instagram. Like, I think maybe there's a point where it's just like, we're going to see this. There will be like a social media stopping point for every generation. You know, like I think the millennials, it's probably Instagram. They've stopped at Instagram, and then TikTok is just like a bridge too far. I don't get it. I don't get the format. I don't like, it's like, what, you got to have a picture of everything? Like what is there to take a picture of? Why does everyone have so much shit that they want to take a picture of?
Right.
I don't need a picture of everything. I like to read things. I like words.
Amen.
Like, I can't do it. And I do Facebook. I do way too much now. I'm back on it. I was off it for like 2 years, and it was blissful. And I would get like a pit in my stomach every time I opened it up. I'd be like, Facebook. Like someone would send me something from the school that I had to like check on Facebook, and I'd be like, like press the button and then like close it down as soon as I could, because it's just such a grody environment, you know.
It's a cesspool.
But now I'm back on it.
Yeah.
It is a cesspool. So then I went to Twitter for a while, and just like one person would read all of my tweets, which were hilarious. Thank you very much.
Yes, they were.
So I didn't get the love and the satisfaction that I needed. So now I'm back on Facebook to collect those likes, to feed my ego.
You are a force of nature on that platform, I have to say, and on the Twitter platform as well. But Twitter, people get shadow banned for no reason, and then like no one is seeing your tweets. That ship sailed a long time ago. I have no idea how anyone sees anything on that thing. But
it's smart. The nice thing about Twitter is that I can post stuff. I'm totally anonymous, you know, like on Facebook, all of my friends and family will see it. So I got to be a little bit discreet. I'm not really that discreet, but, you know, I don't go into like, I don't make pedo jokes on Facebook.
Right. Yeah. Twitter. I'm very mean to people on Twitter, but on Facebook, you have to be like, friendly camp counselor.
Yeah. Yes, people actually know who you are.
Yeah,
that's a whole thing.
Yeah,
but so I don't know. I mean, I guess I get what it is. Essentially, it's all the same thing. It's just like, what are you choosing to put to the forefront? And on Instagram, it's pictures and video, right? But it's just like, I just can't. I can't document my life like that. I can document my thoughts, but I'm of the generation that documenting my life feels like a bridge too far.
Yeah, and it certainly does. Yeah, no, I'm with you about the Instagram thing. It makes very little sense to me how mediated people are willing to live their life. We've been going to the beach a ton lately. Like our latest family hobby is hit the beach. Oh, and Emily and Oscar for my birthday on Friday gave me a wetsuit.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
so you're going to become a full-on surfer now.
I think so. Full-on surfer, if you need me.
King of Scurf, as Bonzo Dog Doodah Band would say.
Yeah, Bonzo Dog Doodah.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So, but you go to the beach, and everyone is taking pictures of each other, handing them their phone. Okay, now you, me. I'm going to stare out at the ocean. And you take a picture of me while I stare at the ocean. And then they like, as soon as the picture's over, they weren't staring at the ocean. They were posing, and they didn't even take the ocean in. They were just facing away from the camera in the direction of some sort of natural something. It might have been the Pacific Ocean, could have been a brick wall. And then instantly turn around and look at the phone instead and see how the picture came out, and then walk away. They don't actually, or you go to a concert and, oh my God, put your fucking phones down. And it's all an advertisement for how awesome my life is. Put that fucking... I want to go to a concert and get one of those long on pincher arms and just grab people's phones and fling them as far as I can, so they have to go find them and won't be able to. And then we can have a night, you know?
If you had a Dr. Octopus suit, you could do that.
Oh, wouldn't that be great if someone just went around just like plucking phones out of people's hands? and then they all run to the back, and then you get a really good place to stand.
Oh, I love it. Although I have this idea for a what I think would be an amazing project, but I don't know how to do it. But I think probably every concert over the last 5 years every concert given by anyone has been fully documented by people and is available on the internet. But you need machine learning to find all these clips and splice them together into the original concert.
Yep.
Could you take that? Could you create like a document of every concert that has happened over the last 5 years
and make
by
it
scraping the web?
Right, and make it sort of an Oculus Rift thing where you're there.
Yeah, there you go.
Because you have it from any angle, you can stand anywhere in the club and wander around the club and then see the band playing. Yeah, that would be kind of interesting.
See, wouldn't that be good?
Yeah,
that would be
not
cool.
Bad. Not bad.
And then you could make a deal with the club to get the mix off of the soundboard.
Yep.
To be the steady, like, be amazing.
Booyah.
Patent pending. Okay, well, that's I guess that's get off our lawn. I'm moving us along at a brisk clip. I hope that's okay.
I love it. Please do.
Dadception.
Dadception.
You know I'm gonna be like you. You know I'm gonna be like that. Be like that. Be like that.
And that's your new theme song.
That is my new theme song. Do you know what I'm sampling there?
No, what do you? Oh, wait. Says father, hey, grows up just like me. It says his
Yeah,
son was just
that's
like
right.
me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, very
The late
good.
great Harry Chapin.
Harry Chapin Carpenter.
And we cleared those samples with his estate. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks,
Harry
guys.
Chapin's estate.
Thanks. It was Wallace at his estate that was really a huge Dad Jeans fan and just couldn't wait to give
Oh,
us
he
the
was
rights.
great.
Yeah, thanks, Wally.
He was great. He took us back to the warehouse and let us go through the boxes, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Like just seeing the Chapin archives, you guys.
And
are
he's such a
just-
huge fan of EPMD. That was the thing I didn't expect.
I did, I could hear it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric and Paul making dollars. There's a little bit of that in the mix. I think Chapin was probably gone long before EPMD. I don't know. They might have crossed over. Is that Brendan's fan fiction?
Yes. But it's hard to write fan fiction without it getting erotic, as we all know.
Well, you gotta go where the muse takes you, my friend. So my dadception. This is our segment about how we're turning into our parents or we're turning our children into us.
Yep.
Sort of like the trauma of generational decline or something like that.
Right.
You know what? So here's my thing that I have fought against. Probably not my whole life. Like in my 20s, I moved to New York, so I guess that was it. But my family were very like, we were the people in the caves in caveman times who would send the other guy out to check on the saber-toothed tiger. we are a safe family. We don't push it too much. We're inside people. We would go on vacations when I was a kid, and we just go to a big city and go to the mall, like in the big city.
Oh, great. Well, that's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah. So, we would never camp. I'm from Michigan. It's the most, gorgeous, such a gorgeous state. So many good places to go. I think we went to the lake once or twice when I was a kid. That's it. Like we didn't camp ever. Literally never camped my entire life until I was in my 20s. So that's something that I fight against. Like there's that, and there's also like not a big like sports family. We didn't really like exercise that much. And as a result, I have sort of I have this very innate drive towards being sedentary and not being adventurous and shying away from anything that might remotely be dangerous, which I think is good in some ways. It's probably kept me alive. I'm not out there with my millennial friends enjoying the pandemic, which is probably good.
Yes.
But it's hard. I really I want to be the guy. Like I want to know about things. I want to be able to like go on a camping trip and feel like pretty secure. I know what to do and not be attacked by bears in the middle of the night. Like instead of this just constant, like there's a fear in me that like prevents me from doing things. I want to lose that fear.
I know exactly
That
what
is
you
my
mean.
dadception.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had the exact same thing. We never camped either, not a single time, and not
Oh,
not a lot of sporting. Just very sedentary, very inside, and that rubbed off. And luckily Emily is completely different. Loves camping, always has to be outside, going for runs and stuff. Like she's super active, and I want to be more like that. Oscar is indeed taking after me in this regard also, and just wants to stay in, not do adventurous things as well. And even for me today, it's my birthday, and I was like, let's go do the crazy thing, and it's going to be a massive mobilization to get in the car and go do something. But it'll be nice when
Right.
we're there. We'll go to the beach or some shit. But it's also very appealing to not do anything and stay home and eat a bagel.
Yeah. Well, especially you've got this giant excuse in the ether.
Yeah.
That you can be like, well, there's nothing to do. I mean, there is nothing to do right now.
There's
And
nothing to do.
The forests are closed. You
Right.
can't even hike.
Can't
you know?
breathe.
So it's just like,
Can't breathe
yeah,
outside.
no, you can't travel. You can't do anything.
The problem with camping, though, is other campers.
Yeah, it is true. I mean, because unless you're doing something unless you're like packing in and like, going for a 9-mile hike into the middle of the wilderness and then
Right.
really doing it,
Right.
That's then if you're not doing that, then you're on a campground
Mm-hmm.
where you're surrounded by the families that pull up in their RV
Mm-hmm.
and bring their like portable hot tub with them, and they've got like their, you know, they've got
Exactly.
their
And then you're in
entire kitchen.
right. You're in Trumpistan. Like they've just made it more their suburbs, but in different
Right.
trees. You know. Yeah. And I'm
Right.
like, why did you?
Widescreen TV.
Yeah. Seriously, yeah. So, and they're really loud, way late into the night, and no one gives a shit. There's a lot of like unthinking people in campgrounds, and that makes me kind of insane.
That is true.
Um,
That is true. But if you do the LA thing and you get online a year and a half ahead of time and reserve the secluded spot that everyone else in LA is trying to reserve,
oh yeah.
then you can have a nice time.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of effort. You can't just, I don't know.
Yeah, those
I don't know
outdoorsy
the
people.
solution there.
They also are very organized about their outdoorsiness. Like it's a whole
so
nerd
organized.
thing. It's a nerdy whole thing. They can't be
Yeah.
it's not a spontaneous group of people that are being outdoorsy. That's the weird paradox.
Yeah. No, you have to have all the right gear.
Yep.
You have to know how to pack it precisely for like for maximum like movage. Like you've got
There's
you gotta-
reservation, there's some trainings, you have to have the right snacks.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
So it's its own form of fear in a way, right? Like
Oh, maybe.
what would be really like badass is to be able to just be like, fuck it. Like I'm going right now.
Yeah,
Just
right.
like,
I've never been sea kayaking in my life, and apparently there are 10-foot swells. But fuck it, let's do this.
Yeah. We're doing this shit. What is it? Whatever. Probably won't die. To have that attitude towards life, probably won't die. Like that's what you need.
Probably won't die. Exactly.
Yeah. What do you got? What's your
So
what's your thing?
Here's my thing is
Dadception.
My growing up, the approach to my kind of like activities and life in general, I was always known as a kid that just was like could entertain himself. I remember from a very young age that was very reinforced. Oh, you can entertain yourself. You can keep yourself busy for hours. That kind of thing, right?
Right.
But there was also like not a crap ton of interest necessarily, but it was the 70s, so no one in my generation received much in the way of interest from their parents about like how they're spending their time. Our parents' generation couldn't have given two airborne fucks what we did with our time. I don't know what they were busy. They were having their careers and their lives, and it was our job to just dispose of ourselves for a while and then be back in the mix. So
I'll tell you what they were doing.
Oh, key parties?
Fondue.
Fondue, which takes a lot of setup.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you
Fondue?
Would you have the foggiest idea where to find a sterno can? I wouldn't.
If I was a camper, I would.
Oh, right.
If I knew how to camp, I could get sterno. I could tell you 12 places to go right now and get some sterno. Fondue and key parties. Yes.
Yeah.
Fondue at key parties. Yeah. It's not a key party without some fondue.
So I was in the high school orchestra for my high school. My high school had 6 years. It was 7th through 12th grade, and I was in the orchestra all 6 years. And in 11th grade, I came home from school and I started to put a shirt and tie on. And my mom and stepdad were like, "Why are you putting on a tie?" And I was like, "Oh, I have a concert tonight in the orchestra." And they were like, "You're in the orchestra?"
Whoa, no.
So,
oh man.
And I was like, "Yeah." And I've been in the orchestra for 5 years, but that's sort of like the level. And it's fine, whatever. And
sure.
and my mom's certainly more than made up for it in my adult life, coming to see all my dumb plays and stuff like that. She would even like get on airplanes to see plays about golf I directed in Florida. Like she was really committed.
Oh Jesus. Well, she's a supporter.
She's a total supporter. But in my youth, it was sort of a different story. So in any case, I sort of feel that gene firing sometimes with Oscar, where I'm like, I'm not that. I always pictured myself like being completely devoted, like, ooh, look at this picture, and then we could do this, we could make a hat, a brooch, a flying pterodactyl, like all sorts of different things. And instead, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, look at that, that's really cool. And it gets like 4 solid seconds of my attention and approval before I couldn't, if I were quizzed on it, I wouldn't be able to say what was on the piece of paper. And so
Oh wow.
that, and I'm like, and I find the gene firing in me, in which I am not that interested, and I don't want that to be true. Like I want to be uber dad who is totally invested, and interested.
Is there anything though that like Hazel has shown has at this age at 9 is showing herself to be a very perceptive writer.
Oh,
So that's something that I'm super excited about, and like I can read anything that she's written, and I didn't have that necessarily until she started like writing things that I was just like, wow, that's really good. Like that. I feel like that is the thing that I got that will get you excited. Like when it's like
when it speaks
they're
your language.
when they speak your language, and also when they're starting to develop something that's more than just like, I can, play Minecraft, or I can, build a house out of blocks, or I don't even know what Oscar does. I mean, I know he builds amazing Lego things.
He does.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know what are the other things that he might show you that you would just be like, I don't care.
It's just Legos. And so Legos, I really like. He's in a major Lego phase. And actually he does. He actually, I have to hand it to him. He makes incredible shit. Like he made a house with a really tall, those windmills, the industrial windmills they have these days everywhere, the white ones.
Yeah.
He made a giant working industrial windmill with a little motor on it, and like a house, and like this grassy thing, and made the guy a surfer who lives in the house. It's so cool. Like the whole thing was great.
Wow.
And so yeah, that stuff is really cool. And he makes amazing Lego stuff, but I don't know. Like I have to whisper now because he might be right outside the door. I'm not that into Legos. There, I said it.
No. I mean, what are you gonna? Why you can't? Why are you gonna play with Legos all day? Come on.
I know. If he had his druthers, yes, and I do.
Yeah.
I put in my time, but I'm like, I can't. It's not the way that. It's not my axe.
No, you saw those freaks on Lego Masters.
I sure
Who wants
did.
to be any of them? You don't
No.
want to be any single one of those people.
And
Maybe the people who got like kicked off on the first episode, where you're like, yeah, you're not that into Legos, so you're cool.
Yeah, like the dad and son. They seemed pretty cool, and they were like, this is fun.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah, exactly. But the early departers, right? But the ones, the lifers, as it went on, after a while, you're like, Jesus. And I followed some of them on Instagram, and they're fucking crazy. Like they're
really
crazy people, probably lovely, but also that show. I was really bummed out that the religious right ones won the whole thing. Like you could just tell they were the religious right, like suburban, married, pregnant when they're really young, and like and that guy speaks in the first person. He doesn't speak singular, not first person plural, in all their little interviews where he's like, I've been waiting to do this my entire life. I can't wait to get my hands on that thing because I really wanted blah blah blah. And she's sitting there nodding next to him, and I was like, is it the 1900s right now? What the fuck is going on?
Right. And he's always in a tie, and she's always in a dress.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a tip off.
And then they had their family in, and the dad of it all, and like the patriarch was like, I feel very blessed, and I was like, I knew it.
Yeah. Will Arnett over there coked up to his gills. He's like, well, you're blessed, Dad.
Speaking of gills, can I just stop to say I saw a very funny meme, and now I'm about to describe a meme on the radio, in which someone was wondering how sharks play harmonica, and it was two identical pictures of a shark, and one was with the harmonica in front of its mouth, and it was like, when sharks play harmonica, do they put it like this, in front of its mouth, or like this, and they put their harmonica in front of its gills? And that was really funny.
Look at that. Dad memes.
Dad memes.
Should we start a channel on the Discord server called Dad Memes?
And maybe an entire show called Dad Memes. Do you think the host...
it would be far more successful than this one?
And do you think the hosts of Dad Geens have listened to Dad Genes yet?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know if they saw our style and we're like, okay, we're gonna glom onto that, or if they're completely in their own world with it.
Well, we should certainly.
I don't know.
We should certainly be zinging them by referring to their show as Dad Geens.
I like that. I like that. That's how we can get this rivalry.
We can assert our authority on the podcast playground.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. Let's move into Secret Shame.
Secret shame.
Something went wrong and I'm to blame. It's all my fault, my secret shame. Fucking up, that is my game. Now here we go, it's my secret. It's my secret. secret shame.
That's a very bump and jam you made for Secret Shame, by the way.
Oh, thank you. The only reason I could remember what this segment was about was by listening to the theme song. Because I was like, is this Dirty Pleasures? But it's not really Dirty Pleasures, right? It's
Wait,
like
we have a segment called Dirty Pleasures?
no, but I like it. No, we don't have a, but like what's that called? Pleasures when simple pleasures? No, like
guilty
like,
pleasures.
There you go, guilty pleasures. I like dirty pleasures.
But yeah, but I think we should have a segment next week called Dirty Pleasures.
All right. I mean, of course, that's the Dad Gene spin. No, this isn't guilty pleasures. It's like something that we did that we're like deeply ashamed of. Right.
Right. It's a confessional.
Okay, this is a confessional. Okay, I'll go first because I don't have I don't have a lot to elaborate on with this one. But I avoid hard work at all costs. I don't know if my work people are listening to this. I think some of them have become listeners, but I don't fucking like working hard. I don't like it. I mean, there are things that I can do for a long time, like make music, which I don't consider work, or like even like, writing fiction. Like if I'm really into something that I'm writing, like that's not work, that's fun. But just like work, like who gets pleasure out of that? Like hauling a bunch of shit like to the garden or something. Like, man, come on, man. Like I'll do a couple of loads, but I don't want to be doing that all day. But on the flip side, I have a very strong work ethic. So if it's like a volunteer day or something, I will work twice as hard as anyone else. I see these people standing around like drinking their mugs of coffee, like paint, using a paintbrush or something like that, and like, yeah, did you know that blah blah? Like they paint like 2 strokes, and then they're like, oh, I've got to tell you about blah blah blah.
Yeah,
you know, and you're like, fuck you! Like I'm over here like shoveling dirt and stuff like that. But I hate it. I hate every second of it.
Yep.
Like I don't like working hard. But the shame of that is that I have done nothing for this fucking election yet. And I just went after RBG, I went online and I signed up to a bunch of things. And now I'm going to start writing letters, like, because that's like something that I can do on my own time. And I've adopted Michigan as my state through Vote Save America. So I'm going to make some calls to people in Michigan about local races. Because I haven't done shit, because I'm just like, I don't like it. I don't like doing hard work. I'm like, I work all day. Like, why can't I just come home and not work? But I guess it's too important. I got to do something.
Let me ask you this. Can you register to vote in Michigan?
I can't. Should I vote twice?
Yeah, definitely.
No.
our vote doesn't count here.
Yeah, no.
But your
I don't
vote,
think it's like,
can you move home for the fall?
it's not like citizenship, I don't think. I think I would have had to have been established, I'm afraid. But maybe I should go back to swing the vote. My parents are doing their part.
Donald Trump decided to vote from Florida. He's now a Florida voter.
Yeah, and apparently that doesn't matter. The whole family's committing election fraud. Apparently no one can stop them. You just can't stop that.
No,
Sorry.
No. This country's built on politeness, and one party figured that out 30 years ago. And the other party is still being like, didn't we all agree to be polite in 1776? I don't understand.
Yeah. It says here, Mitch McConnell, that you were going to be polite.
Right, exactly. Wait a second. You said one thing in 2016. Now you're saying another thing in 2020. Right. And he's like, yeah, that's the game, assholes. I'm a hypocrite. Yeah. We all are.
Yeah. Exactly. What did you think, that there were rules that you were playing by? No.
Yeah, the rule is
there's not even any board.
Win. No, yeah. Win and hurt people's feelings while you do it. Yeah.
Yep.
God.
So that's my thing. Hard work.
Party. Good for you. I think that's great. I wrote about 25 postcards so far, and I sent them out, and it does feel pretty good to be like, I wrote postcards to 25 people in Texas.
Yeah, I've done that. I did some postcards. Sarah started this whole postcard thing, and I did a lot earlier in the season. It's a little bit like, I mean, what it is you're really just like, your job here is not necessarily to change anything. It's just to assuage your like guilty conscience. Yeah, and be like, I did a thing. I can point to a thing that I did. Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't have to feel like a piece of shit anymore.
Well, sure. And hey, if everyone did that, we'd be doing great. If everyone
Yeah,
did as
if
much
that's
as
what
you've
it
done
takes.
so far, and as much as I've done so far, if we all did that, great. We're
Yeah.
going to move the needle a little bit.
Okay. Well, that's good. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, but I understand the hard work thing, and it evokes for me that parable about the guy walking around the construction site and asking
Okay.
people, and asking people what they're doing. I'm sure I've said this before, but it
I
goes
don't
up
know
to the
this, no.
guy. Oh, okay, great. He's going up to the guy who's shoveling dirt, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "What does it look like I'm doing? I'm shoveling dirt." And then goes up to the guy who's hammering nails into something. He's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, hammering nails. And then he's like, "Okay, thank you." And then he goes up to the guy, and they're all like grumpy pussies, you know. And then
Yeah.
he sees one guy who's mixing cement and mixing mortar, and is whistling while he works, and is in a great mood. And he's like, "Oh, you're in a great mood. What are you doing?" And he said, "What am I doing? I'm building a cathedral."
Let's look at that.
Eh?
Look at that, Brendan.
What do you-
Wow, I love that. So I gotta get the bigger picture in mind.
Or you already have it when you're writing fiction, when you're doing a volunteer day, when things like that.
Sure.
Like you are capable of hard work when you're building a cathedral. But I completely agree with you. Why would anyone just want to do busy hard work that has no reward other than it's what we're all supposed to do right now?
Yeah, like what is the bigger picture if I'm building a sub brand for a tech company product that enforces security measures?
Exactly.
What's my
Exactly.
cathedral there?
There is no right, exactly. And it's like and then you see the people on LinkedIn, and you're like, "Oh Jesus, I'm passionate about helping people in the security industry achieve
Yeah.
their brand pillars or whatever." And you're like,
Yeah.
"Are you passionate about it?" Or
Yeah.
So it is completely understandable, and you are not a bad person, Jeff. There's
Thank you,
there's
Brendan.
nothing to feel secret shame about in what you're saying.
Oh, that's a load off. We're really turning a corner on some things today.
We're healing. This is where the healing begins.
Yes, this is where the healing begins.
Yep.
Oh, episode title. Okay, what's your secret shame?
My secret shame is that what with the RGB thing, RBG, I mean.
Yes.
Oh, and to answer your earlier question, what I was doing was I was on a Zoom call with my in-laws to celebrate their 50th anniversary. And my niece, at one point, all of her dorm roommates were screaming. And she's like, "What's going on?" And then she told us all, and we were like, all just stunned into like, oh my God, just awful. So,
Wow.
and that kind of stuff happens. And then, of course, the earthquake later that night, just so rattling. The whole thing is so rattling.
Very rattling.
And so that stuff So when that stuff happens, and Mitch McConnell, predictably, before her fucking body was cold, says she's going to be replaced.
Of course.
Says all that stuff. The Republicans are so repugnant and so awful to share a country with. The hypocrisy and the dirty tricks and the rat fucking and the way in which they will steal every single election, and so it forces the good guys to win by a billion votes.
Yes. Twice
all
as many votes we
right.
need.
And then, I have it on good authority from somebody who works deep inside of politics, that the Biden campaign is fucking this whole thing up by being way too cautious. They're terrified of bad press. So the Trump campaign has knocked on 4 million doors, and the Biden campaign isn't even starting till the week after next. So all of their subcontractors who do this stuff and are like ready to mobilize and get out the vote have been wanting to pound on doors for the last month, 2 months, to get things out and do the and the Biden campaign is like, "No, I don't think so." And then they were like, "No, maybe
don't tell me this."
Yeah,
Don't
no,
tell me this.
they're doing what the Democratic Party always does all over again. They're being way too cautious and
third guessing. Yeah.
Third guessing. What will the one independent in Pennsylvania think if he reads an article in the New York Times that is like that obscures the story of the fact that we kind of maybe knocked on doors a week later than whatever it is. They're so scared of everything. So they're just being the spineless idiots that our side always is. Too polite, too scared. And then they were like, and also doing things into like going into It's just all, it's infuriating. I don't know how much of it was privileged information, so I shouldn't say too much. But the point is, the Democrats are being Democrats. The Republicans are being Republicans. The Republicans will always win because the Democrats are too polite. And
They're being uber Republicans.
and they're just, they know how to win. They understand what this game actually is. This game isn't building a cathedral. It's fucking the other side. You know what I mean? And so
Right. Yes.
and so that is really all of that
It's
to say.
capturing capturing the means of power by any means necessary.
By any means necessary. And if that means like just making the truth itself so toxic that you don't have to pay attention to it,
Sure.
and siloing information and just and mobilizing racists and conspiracy theorists and all this, it's just so it all amounts to, this is my secret shame. I get so worked up about unfairness in general, and I have such a hang up about things being not fair. And this is me as a white American man saying this, which is ridiculous. I have no right to have the hang up about fairness that I do, but I have it. And
Sure.
as a reason, and I get so worked up that I actually can't function. Like I have to stop paying attention to the news once a month. I have to go on a diet of the new stuff because it's too much. Like it's too emotional. It makes me too crazy.
I think your
Yeah.
episode is getting too long.
Oh, thank you.
That's what we need. Can Oscar be our producer?
Yeah, he's giving us the cane coming out from backstage, yanking us off. I missed the beginning of what he said. What was the first part of
The
what he said?
Sandman.
Yeah.
He just said the episode has gotten too long.
Yeah.
Or the movie's over. I think your episode has gotten too long.
That is pretty
We've
funny.
spoken for an entire movie.
Yeah. Oh, these kids' movies are too short. We've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes. Oh, here's Blue Bear.
Oh, hey, Blue Bear. I love Blue Bear. I bet Blue Bear was so soft and luscious when you got him.
Yep. And now look, see what's happening? Now he's getting punched.
Yep.
Get out of here. We're about to end the show. Beat it.
Almost done. We're almost done, Oscar.
done.
We're
Okay. Yes,
Get-
we will call Mimi. So.
getting to your dad's secret shame. Okay.
So I get so worked up that I actually become useless to the struggle because I get too hurt by
Right.
Republican shenanigans and like how it's just so inconceivable that they're so awful that I get the vapors and I like want to just fall on a fainting couch and I want to be stronger and I just don't understand why they always are like, well, what's the dick move? Okay, we'll do the dick move. I just don't understand why they just do that and it works.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, it's also just like you see I mean, there's a definite like chasm between our rhetoric and what you're saying right there. What's happening on the streets? Like, like you get on Twitter and it's like, RBG wouldn't stop fighting. We just got to fight twice as hard. And everyone's like, bully. And then it's like, well, our focus group said that you shouldn't go to this county in Pennsylvania until the third week of the, and you're just like, no, what's the reality here? Like, give me a reason to be fired up.
Right.
Get me fucking pissed. Like, Kamala Harris come out and be like, this shit is over.
Yes.
It stops now. Like, stop this shit. Like, this is fucking bullshit, Like, I just want someone to do it. Like, tell me that,
They had so much gas in the tank on the progressive side of this party. There was so much gas in the tank that they could have steamrolled the entire Republican agenda for a generation. And this tweet I saw said it best, where it said 87% of Democrats want universal health care, and the other 13% run the party.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Well,
it's just the whole. Well, whatever. I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole. I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
It's just no. Well, you're right. I feel the same way. We should be the light. We should be the intubation for people's souls.
Yes, we're bringing your souls back from the
brink.
Hell, the brink of whatever's happening to it. You can't. Your souls can't breathe.
Yeah.
But listen to Dad Jeans, and we'll breathe that word of God back into you.
We're gonna give you that good news in one orifice or another.
Should we be Christian? It seems like
it just seems so much easier. Should we just be like religious conservative, religious fundamentalists, and just be like,
yeah,
they have it all. Like they looked at this economy and they're like, oh, I see how this works. Okay, yeah, be in the in group. Okay, got it. There's one group controls all this, so I'll just join that group.
Yeah. No worries. That makes sense. Perfect.
They'll have me. They'll take anyone.
Yeah. And what do you got to do? Go to church? You don't even have to go to church.
You don't have to do anything. You just have to.
No.
I don't know. Decide.
Be an asshole.
Be an ass.
Just be okay with being an asshole to everyone.
Right. Exactly. And decide what's good for everyone else.
Maybe that's that's our advice. I hear you, Brendan. It's hard to feel motivated when you're not feeling like you feel like you don't feel like you're a part of anything. It just feels so disparate. It's like,
Right.
I'll do my one little thing, but I'm just like, I'm not in a movement. Like, that is one thing that these Republicans have got, is that they're like fucking, we're not gonna let anyone take our shit.
They're on the march.
Like, we are all together in this.
Yeah.
And yet somehow the left can organize and the right can't. Like, have you ever seen, can you imagine a right-wing protest the size of Black Lives Matter protests?
Right.
Like, never in American history has the right wing gotten in the streets.
Right.
There's the Tea Party, and that was like a couple hundred people,
Yeah.
like standing on a street corner saying "honk if you love tea" or whatever.
And that were
Honk if you
completely
hate taxes.
over-reported.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, they've never had a sustained mass movement.
Yeah.
We can do that. So the energy is there. You're right. The energy is there, but it's not reflected in our politics.
Yeah, because the Democratic establishment refuses to cash in on that energy ever in any way whatsoever.
I know. You've got AOC. Make her the face of the party.
Yeah.
They're like, she's divisive. Yeah, exactly. She's fucking divisive.
Right.
Exactly.
We're in a
That's
divided
what we need.
country.
It's divisive.
Yes. We're never, ever going to pull the Trumpists back. So they're just going to be their own cult. Let them be their cult. And then, but we're not, but stop trying to seem right. Stop trying to appeal to Republicans when they're not going to vote for you anyway.
Yes.
The Republicans don't try to appeal to us.
Yeah. No. Put the fresh-faced, brilliant, like moralistic, beautiful young person. Make that person the face of your fucking party.
Yeah.
Not an 80-year-old, doddering whatever. We love Joe Biden, but come on. I mean, come on. We need energy. We need youth. We need to feel like there's a future. Greta Thunberg, make her the face of the party.
Yeah. Instead of the caution is the enemy.
Caution is the enemy. All right. That's it.
That's it.
We're Dad Jeans.
We're Dad Jeans.
Good night.